Have you ever noticed that the people who change the most are almost always the people who go quiet first? They stop posting, they stop explaining themselves, they stop announcing what they're about to do. One day they're everywhere, and the next, they've simply vanished. And then, months later, they walk back in as a completely different person. We tend to call this running away, avoidance, hiding. But there is a very specific psychology behind rebuilding your life in secret. And once you understand it, you will never look at a quiet person the same way again. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you the strange thing that happens on the day these people finally come back. Almost nobody predicts it, and it might be the most important part of the entire process. It usually starts with a scene you already know. It's late at night. You feel a sudden surge of motivation, and you decide that tomorrow is the day everything changes. You're going to get in shape, launch the thing, fix your life. You map out the whole plan in your head, and it feels perfect. And then you make one small mistake. You tell someone, maybe you text a friend, maybe you post a hint online, and they reply exactly the way you hoped. They tell you they're proud of you, that you're going to crush it. For a moment, you feel incredible. You feel like you've already won. Then the days pass, the weeks pass, and you've done nothing. The motivation is gone. And when those same people ask how it's going, you feel that sick little drop in your stomach, and you have to make an excuse. Here's why that happens. And it isn't because you're lazy. A psychologist named Peter Gallwitzer studied this exact pattern. His research on what he called social reality found something uncomfortable. When you announce a goal that's tied to your identity, and other people acknowledge it, your mind can register that recognition as if part of the work is already done. You get the feeling of progress without the progress. You get the applause at the starting line and quietly lose the drive to run the race. So the people who actually rebuild, they close the laptop and they don't text anyone. They let the plan stay theirs. The second thing these people understand is even harder. When something in your life collapses, a public breakup, a business that failed out loud, a version of yourself that fell apart where everyone could see, the most painful part is usually not the loss itself. It's the audience. It's the eyes on you while you're down. And when you try to rebuild in front of that audience, you run into a quiet problem. Everyone who knows is now watching your recovery. They mean well. They ask, "How are you holding up? Have you figured it out yet?" But every one of those check-ins forces you to relive the exact thing you're trying to move past. And here's the part that matters. Being watched while you're still vulnerable keeps your stress response switched on. And a stressed brain is worse at precisely the things rebuilding requires: patience, clear thinking, planning, the ability to sit with a hard problem instead of running from it. So the urge to disappear isn't weakness. In the wild, a wounded animal doesn't heal out in the open. It finds somewhere quiet until the bleeding stops. Your instinct to step back is the same instinct. But notice the real goal here. It isn't zero people, it's fewer spectators. Disappearing to heal is not the same as cutting off the one or two people who genuinely help you carry it. Solitude rebuilds you. Total isolation just hides you. The people who do this well know the difference. Now, so far, this probably sounds almost peaceful. Step back, go quiet, heal. It isn't peaceful, because what comes next is the part that breaks most people. And it's the exact reason the overwhelming majority of quiet rebuilds quietly fall apart. The first week or two of disappearing feels amazing. You feel a rush of control. Finally, no noise, just you and the work. And then, somewhere around month 2, the silence gets loud. The new routine stops feeling exciting. You find yourself staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, wondering if you've made a huge mistake. And around this time, you start to lose people, not through some dramatic argument, but simply because you're no longer available to play the role you used to play in their lives. The group chats go quiet, the invitations slow down, and you realize something that stings. A lot of your relationships were built on proximity and shared habits, not on anything real. This is the moment. This is where nearly everyone quits, where they run back to the old comfort, the old people, the old distractions, just to escape the silence. The ones who rebuild in secret feel every bit of that pull, and stay anyway. The people who make it through develop a strange, almost boring habit. They stop being interesting to talk to. Here's the logic. When someone asks, "So what have you been up to lately?" Be honest. Most of the time, they're not asking so they can help you. They're locating you on a map, relative to themselves. They want a data point. Are you doing better than me? Or worse? So the quiet rebuilder starves them of the data. When people ask, they give the flattest answer possible. A small smile, and honestly, just keeping my head down, taking it day by day. That's it. No new diet, no business plan, no book they're reading, nothing to measure, nothing to judge, nothing to report back. And here's what happens. When you give people nothing to hold on to, they stop asking, and the quiet gets even quieter, which is exactly what you wanted. Now, most advice will tell you that when you're struggling, you should vent, call people, get it off your chest, and there's a place for that. But watch what venting actually does. When you spill the whole thing to 6 different people, you get a small hit of relief. And then, very often, nothing changes. You feel lighter, and you do the exact same thing again a month later. You released the pressure that could have driven the change. The people who rebuild in secret handle it differently, and this is important. They do not sit and marinate in shame. They're not walking around hating the old version of themselves. That's not strength. That's just a slower kind of self-destruction. What they do instead is treat the discomfort as information. Regret is pointing at something. It's showing you the exact place that needs to be rebuilt. So instead of venting it, they read it, and then they turn it into a plan. The rule is simple. Your regret becomes a to-do list, not an identity. You don't have to hate who you were to outgrow who you were. So instead of texting 6 people about the mistake, you write the lesson down, and then you go do something about it, quietly. Which brings us to the ending I promised you at the very start. Let's be honest about why most people begin this journey. It's not noble. When you first feel that urge to disappear and rebuild, a big part of you wants revenge. You want to vanish, build something undeniable in the dark, and then drop it on the table in front of everyone who doubted you. And watch their faces. That's a completely normal way to start. Anger is good fuel to light the fire. But here's the twist. Almost nobody sees coming. By the time you actually finish the work, by the time the new habits are wired in and the new version of you is real, something quietly shifts. You look up, ready for the big reveal, and you realize you don't care about their reaction anymore. You spent all those months being your own audience. So the applause you were starving for at the beginning now sounds like nothing. It's hollow. It has no power over you. And that's why these people never announce their return. There's no big update, no dramatic post, no speech. They just walk back in. And their posture, their steadiness, the quiet weight of the competence they built in the dark, says all of it before they open their mouth. So here's what rebuilding in secret was really about the whole time. It was never about hiding from people. It was about removing the audience just long enough to finally hear yourself think. The silence was never the punishment. The silence was the room. The one place where the real work could actually happen, with nobody watching, nobody measuring, and nobody to perform for. And if you're sitting inside that silence right now, and it feels heavy, and you're not sure you're going to make it, that heaviness is not proof that you're failing. It's usually the sign that something is finally rebuilding. Just remember the difference we talked about. Disappearing to grow is not the same as disappearing from everyone who loves you. Keep the 1 or 2 who actually help, and let the rest of the noise go quiet. Before you close this and go back into your own quiet rebuild, 2 small things. First, subscribe. Let this be the quiet place you come back to when the silence gets a little too heavy and you need a reminder of why you started. And second, leave a comment. But remember the whole point of this video. Don't tell me your goals. Don't leak the fuel. Just drop a single hourglass. Or type the words, building in silence. Let that be the quiet pact you make with yourself today. Now turn off your phone and go do the work.